Musikrockradio.
Wir sind heute hier mit Laura Cox. Thank you, Laura, for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And congratulations on your new album, Head Above Water, which we have here. Just for our audience who don't know you yet, can you just briefly introduce yourself?
So, I'm Laura Cox. I started playing guitar around 14 and it became my passion since I started. Then I started a YouTube channel. I had a kind of internet success. It went kind of viral on YouTube since 2008 or something. And I started my own band around 2014. We released a few albums, and this is the third album that's just out. And I'm really, really excited about the release. So, of course, it's a rock.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we are also excited about the album. And we've already listened to it, of course, and we're completely in love with the album. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about the album in general, what it is about, and maybe what inspired you to write the songs?
So compared to the two previous albums, this one is less hard. I wanted something a bit softer, but of course still rock, something energetic, but that sounded more like myself. I think for this one, I trusted myself more. For the previous ones, it was more work of a teamwork. And for this one, I really wanted it to be myself, so I pushed in this direction. I tried to include more country influences, for example, more instruments like banjo and lap steel, with a good base of rock, of course. And the inspiration, for once, I think it didn't really come from other bands or the music in itself, because in the past I always used to think, okay, I want to sing like her, I want this song to sound like this or this, and for this one I stopped. I just thought, okay, let's do this naturally and not think about other people. So yes, and in the end it came out really naturally, and the band followed me, and I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, you've mentioned it. I imagine it might be pretty hard to come from this background of doing all these cover versions on YouTube and then going into writing your own stuff. Have you always been a creative person, or was that completely new for you when you started?
No, it was a bit, the transition was a bit hard because, like you said, I started on YouTube just covering. I think a lot of musicians, they start playing and they start writing immediately, but for me this wasn't the case. I felt comfortable just recording covers in my bedroom, and this was really comfortable for me because I was kind of introverted at the time. And but it was the right way for me to show the music to the people without showing too much and without having to face the real world. And then a few years after, but maybe a lot of years after, maybe 8 years after I started starting the guitar, I thought about starting writing songs, and then the transition from YouTube to the stage was a bit stressful because at that time when I had my first gig, it was with this project, and I never played live before, and I already had a few million views on YouTube. So I thought, okay, we're not starting from zero. There are some people expecting things from this show, and I was a bit stressed. But in the end, of course, we've been playing live for more than since 2017, the release of my first album. So we've been playing live a lot. So now I feel more confident and comfortable on stage.
That's pretty cool. You've mentioned in previous interviews that you wrote this album in Portugal by the sea. Mm-hmm. How did the surrounding of the sea and this natural aspect influence the creative process of the album?
So first, I think I got there because I really wasn't inspired by the climate of anxiety created by the COVID. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna try move a bit, try to distance a bit from the music, and see. I don't want to force myself into writing because I don't think anything good can come from this. And I thought I'll take my time and be in the nature. Maybe it's gonna help. Try to think about something else. And so in 2020, it was I was really not creative and inspired at all. And then in 2021, slowly the inspiration came again. And I think just being in this quiet environment and away from the music, it helped. Coming back with a fresher mindset. And that's why I think this album is a bit less hard. It's because I didn't go out to see any rock festivals. There weren't shows happening, and I was kind of in a quiet environment. So I think you can kind of hear this in this record.
Yeah. The title of the record is Head Above Water, which is like kind of a positive message. You've also mentioned like COVID and everything that's been going on in the world. How important is like this positive outlook on life to you personally?
I think if you don't have a positive outlook on life, you'll go nowhere. You really have to, even when times are tough, you really have to focus on what's good in your life, you know, because I feel really, really lucky to be able to live from my music. I don't think it's something that, I think that it's something that a lot of people would love to have, but a few only can have this. So I feel really, really lucky. And the message is kind of wide because I really wanted people to be able to identify to this, you know, no matter the times you're going through, it's going to get better. You just have to wait. It comes in waves, you know, like the ocean. It's unpredictable. You cannot predict what's going to happen in life. You cannot control everything. But in the end, it's going to be okay. And you should focus on the positive aspects of your life. So that's the message.
Now we've talked quite a bit about your record. But do you actually remember the first record that you ever bought for yourself?
That I was given or that I bought?
Whichever you remember.
I don't know. So I think it would be pretty different. The first one I think I got was something like Shania Twain, like the Come On Over album from end of the 90s, maybe 90. I don't want to say something bad, something wrong, but yeah, the Come On Over by Shania Twain. My dad bought it for me, and at the time I still really like her music, but it's not the music I'm playing, but I like Shania Twain. So this was the first album I think I was given, either this or something by Anastasia, you know, and like these kind of singers. And the first album I bought myself, that I remember at least, I think it was when I really started to be passionate about guitar. I bought myself the greatest hits from the Guns N' Roses because I totally fell in love with Slash's tone, and this got me inspired and motivated to start guitar.
Cool. You've already mentioned your dad, and you've also mentioned in previous interviews that your parents used to listen to lots of music, like rock music in particular.
Yeah.
How did that kind of influence you as an artist? And which of these older artists are maybe even your idols, or which did influence your music?
I think it really helped a lot that even if they were not musicians, I was lucky to be able to grow in a family where there was always good music, or where when we were traveling, I had a lot of good rock or country songs in the car. So I think this was a good base and a really good starting point for me to be able to, evolve with a good musical background. And then of course I met some people in high school, and that's when I really discovered rock and hard rock. But before this, I think being in a family that loved music really helped me and pushed me in the right direction. And the artists that I remember listening to were artists like Johnny Cash or Dire Straits or The Byrds. Artists like this, not really on the hard rock side, but like good classic rock, Neil Young, Janis Joplin, and artists like this.
What's your favorite thing about touring and do you have like a favorite memory from tour? Anything maybe special that happened or funny or?
I don't know. I would say there was one time where the band started the show without me because I was lost backstage, and usually we used to start the show with a song where I wasn't on stage from the beginning. So the guys were starting, and maybe 30 or 40 seconds later, I was supposed to arrive and playing a solo. And the guys thought I was on the side of the stage, but I wasn't. I was preparing backstage, but the backstage was really far. You had to go through tunnels underground, under the stage and everything. And I was backstage. I was changing and preparing, and then I thought I was hearing the beginning of the show, and I thought, no, it's not possible. And then I took my guitar and I started to run, and because we were opening for a big French band, Trust, and I think the engineers and the roadies, the crew from Trust, kind of pushed us, saying, "Yeah, we cannot be late," and so they thought we were ready, but I wasn't on stage at all, and they made the guy start the show, and I wasn't there, so I started running, and then I arrived on stage. I was completely out of breath. Everybody was looking at each other, saying, "But where is she?" And then I arrived, but it was kind of fun in the end.
That sounds quite funny, actually. So my last question would be similar to the record one. Do you remember the first concert you ever went to, and if you do, which one was it? Yeah.
I remember it was Elton John in Paris. My dad took me there I remember it was during a World Cup in 1998. It was a nice memory. I wasn't... first concert, I was really, really far, like at the furthest seat in the big hall with the binoculars, and it was nice night. I don't remember everything because I was 7, but in my mind, it's still a good memory, and I really love Elton John, and I bought tickets to see him soon, so can't wait for this.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Classic Rock Radio.